All right, so let's begin. What's going on, YouTube? So I am finally, I finally about to review this goddamn season, this goddamn show, Mr. Robot. Solves just for recap purposes. There'll be links to the reviews I did for season one, season two, towards the back half of this video, and probably in the description box in the comment section down below. But we're about to go full spoilers into season three. So if you haven't caught up, just get the hell out of here, because we're about to go in deep here. I'm going to start with a short, I guess, consensus of the season overall, and then we're going to dive into spoiler territory. I'm going to let this rest easy, because I took a lot of notes. So we're about to get sweaty here. But my consensus on the show before I start is basically season 3, it was low on what the fuck moments and plot twists and high on emotionally powerful scenes and shocking answers to questions raised in season 2 and 1. And season 3 is just different. It's full of unexpected moments and just like jaw-dropping, goosebumps-inducing finale as well, and continues to push the boundaries with scenes that are filmed in one take. Which, for the record, I got a big screen to say this one. For the record, there is one fucking episode that is done entirely in one take. Like just it. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Anyhow, but where was I? Season 3 is a reminder that not only is this a refreshing, exciting, addictive filmmaking, but this is unpredictable storytelling that speeds into uncharted territory, even in its third season. Season 3's unsolved mysteries, as you leave the finale, may drive you mad, waiting desperately for season 4. Now, in regards to theories about the show overall, and I guess where we could potentially be going from here on out, I'm gonna have to get to that in a separate video, because that's like a video unto itself. Me trying to figure out the next big series plot twist, if you will. But let's go ahead and dive into dissecting season 3. For this review, I'm actually not alone here. I'm actually going to be having Anthony Rodriguez on here as well. What's going on, man?
Hey, Jor-Els, thank you so much for having me, man. Yeah, it's an honor. Yeah, season 3 was what an emotional season for Mr. Robot. This show continues to impress me, and it continues to just blow my mind on how the structure of the show is so different and so like it stands on its own on from other television shows that are on TV right now. Like the cinematography, the writing, the acting, and just the use of how Sam Esmail just loves to just make you like not know what's gonna happen next, which is just in Game of Thrones, I love Game of Thrones, but there's sometimes where I'm like, yeah, I could see where the next episode could lead to this, because we're so invested, and there's already been like 7 seasons of that show. But Mr. Robot, every episode, I cannot imagine what's gonna happen in the next episode. It's such a hard show to predict and have theories and predictions on, because Sam Esmail's like, oh, that's a good theory, nice, but
Right.
how about let me do something that will probably be better for the story, and then he's just like, yep, I would have never thought of that, and that's probably a better idea for the story. But thank you for having me, man. I'm honored to be here.
Yeah, no problem. We're about to go in deep to this shit. Because season 3 was so problematic for me to review, because like season 2 and 3 I kind of just finished, like I think literally within this past week, in the span of like maybe 3 to 4 days at max. So
Wow.
it's I got a little bit overwhelmed trying to do the review on my own, so I thought I'd grab a Mr. Robot fanatic on here to help me out. One thing I do want to say before we dive in deeper is that I have to give these 2 songs in particular a shout out, because they're my 2 favorite songs from the series as a whole. Maybe with the one exception of there was that one episode where Tyrell, he choked out some bitch on top of a
Oh yeah.
rooftop to FKA Twigs, which is a favorite artist of mine. I can't remember the song that they used, but as soon as I heard it, I was like, Jesus Christ. But let me see here. Razor Girl by Dove Virus. And the last, I think it's literally the last one over here that I think it's intro M83. Yeah, those are my two favorite songs from. I mean, the soundtrack is always great, but what happened?
Okay, sorry. You got muted for a second. I was like, oh snap, what happened? But you're good now.
Gotcha. But those are my two favorite songs from the show thus far. So I'm gonna just take this off for 1 second. There was one other thing that I wanted to get to before we dived in. But essentially, this is sort of my interpretation of season 1 and 2, just in a nutshell. Because season 1, I found it to be a complex character study for Elliot Alderson. And, season 1 is mostly just about diving into the world of hacking and causing like a V for Vendetta type of revolution. And then the season ends with a plot twist that just makes you rethink everything that you just fucking watched, right? And then when we get to season 2, it's about taking that character study deeper, darker, and just jaw-droppingly weirder. So weird that at times it almost feels like we've kind of just descended into Elliot's like consciousness, which apparently is just full of madness. And then we also realized that the revolution that happened, it doesn't necessarily mean that the world is just like bettered and fixed overnight and like everyone's just like in its brand. It's like, no, actually. It could be argued that maybe things perhaps got worse as a result of Elliot Alderson's actions. We see some really complex character progression and another plot twist that, again, makes you rethink everything that you've just witnessed throughout the show and that season so far. And for me, season 2 was just really overstuffed with just what the fuck moments and these mind-bending scenes that are like kind of literally whiplash-inducing physically. Like, it's kind of insane. And now we get to season 3, which let me bring my man Anthony back up here for this. So, I guess what are the first things that come to mind for you about season 3? What makes you love it so much, and what is the main things that stick out? Because we can't really go in a linear fashion. We're probably just gonna have to go all over the place. So, thoughts on that?
Yeah, for me, season 3 was kind of a redemption arc for most of the characters because, like you were saying, season 1 was kind of the start of the revolution. Season 2 was the aftermath and the consequences of that revolution that they started, and season 3 was kind of like trying to find these characters to redeem themselves and try to correct the wrongs that they did in the past, which I thought was a big positive for me for season 3. How Elliot Alderson's mindset has been through the season, with everything going on with the 71 buildings being blown up, and
oh my god,
even that was so like it broke me personally, and like the way the show like sends out, like the cinematography is so underappreciated, and like the writing in the show, it makes me so sad, and especially how many ratings like the ratings have dropped over the season, which is sad for me. The long take episode is by far probably the best episode of the season, in my opinion. That episode was so smart in its writing, and I remember when I first saw it live on TV and realizing that, wait a minute, this whole episode is about to be one long take, like Birdman style cinematography, and I was just like, wow, that episode was and it was funny because like there was like it was around like 10:40 or 10:30ish around there, and then I realized, oh wait, this is their first commercial break, and then it just ended, and then they went to that after show that they usually do. And, like there was like 20 minutes left of the episode that didn't finish because there was no commercial breaks at all, which was I was like, what show does that? And
Right? Yeah.
it's so funny. And then, but I think the most, and then there was a lot of emotional parts of this season too that
Yes.
I really connected with, all, especially the episode where, after Trenton and Mobley, were just brutally, murdered and uh, they were, what's the word? The crime of the whole thing with the 70, well, they got, that's the word, blamed. They were blamed for it, for that. And then, seeing their families and how they're dealing with it and them considered terrorists, even though they were trying to find a way to fix the whole thing. And then Elliot with the relationship with Trenton's little brother and how that whole dynamic flowed I was like, wow. Like, it's really an out of, because we're so used to Elliot being so alone and distant and socially awkward with other people, and then this moment where he has a human, moment with this kid, and then he, tries to, spend time with him, and then, they go to the movies together, similar to how him and his dad used to go to the movies when they were kids as well, when he was younger as well. Mm-hmm. And I just love the parallel of how Elliot is kind of maturing, but also he's starting to open up and start to try to find redemption for himself. Because and that episode was really deep because he was gonna kill himself in that episode with he bought the pills when he went to the beach, and it just like stuff like that. I'm like, wow, like these characters are so like 3-dimensional. There's no one-dimensional character. Oh, and I gotta give a shout out to Bobby Cannavale also, who was a great addition to the show. Yeah, I love his character so much. Like,
Irving,
this season, I think Irving was such a great character.
Yeah, I thought that Bobby did like a fantastic job. He's kind of like almost like a live action cartoon or something, but like I think he fits into Mr. Robot just fine. His really bizarre voice and the whole mustache.
Yeah, he's like
and loving to eat those ribs at the Red Wheelbarrow.
The Red Wheelbarrow.
Whatever the fuck that restaurant is. I thought he did a great job, particularly in the finale when he's fucking. Santiago. He's fucking like swinging the axe on him. And I think the FBI agent, I think her name's Dominique, I think.
Yeah.
She's like forced to watch Irving just fucking wailing on this dude with this axe, just going insane. That like if you weren't behind his performance throughout the season, I feel like I don't know how you couldn't. I feel like during that moment particularly, that's where it peaked, and I was like, yeah, he was like a perfect addition to the series. That's like a
it reminded me a little bit of the Wolf from Pulp Fiction. Like that's who he reminded me of so much, and like there's a little bit of episodes. And if you've seen my tweets from like a year ago, I said that Mr. Robot is like the new Breaking Bad, in a way where it's like this weird like different arc show. Game of Thrones has like that kind of thing also, but Mr. Robot is like this one character who's kind of like an anti-hero, has an arc to try to redeem the death of his father, and Angela who has a very similar arc as well, but she's doing it in a completely different direction. And I just think that like things like that, like when you start to like bring in these new characters like Bobby Cannavale and then Joey Badass as another great addition to the show, and like these characters are so likable, but they're bad people, right? And I just think it's so interesting how Sam Esmail doesn't make everyone goody two shoes. He makes everyone like fleshed out, which is just shout out to good writing, and it just continues to impress me on that scale. But I think there was something else you were trying to say also, right?
Yeah, just to make sure that we're not going like 4 hours on this bitch, I think it's probably best that we just dissect the season, maybe just episode to episode, just to give this conversation some sense of structure, because there's so much detail and things to unpack with season 3. It's kind of insane. So in the premiere, because you gotta remember, I watched like season 2 in like a couple days time or some shit for the first time. So this was a lot of information. And then the last moments of the season 2 finale, we see that what's his name? Tyrell is potentially alive. Maybe she's a figment of Elliot's imagination. Like, it was completely unclear to me. And like when Elliot's like, "Well, you won't shoot me," and then Elliot gets shot. But then like the fucking season 2 finale ends in this way that's like, wait, what the fuck? He was actually shot. What the fuck? And then like was Mr. Robot like having to what the fuck? You know, like it was just so bizarre. I just could not believe that Elliot like literally got shot. Like that totally threw me for a loop. And then we open up with we have Rami Malek waking up, I think, like weeks later, which I'm so glad that they didn't pull like a Punisher, you know, where like, because at first I was like really weirded out after Rami woke up, and I was like, I mean, wasn't this motherfucker just shot like a few hours ago? But I'm glad that it was like 6 days later or some shit. I was like, oh, whew, okay, great, wow, Sam's actually thinking. That's nice to know. Anyways, so I know that during the opening title sequence, we see, at least for me, a pretty ambiguous conversation between White Rose and
Yes.
Fuck, what's his name? I think his name is
Zhang or Shang or something like that. I want to.
Grant. Is that his real name, or is that, or at least the actor's name is Grant Chang. I don't know.
Okay.
I can't recall the guy's name, but we'll come across it later. But anyway, White Rose and I believe Grant Chang, whatever that character's name is, they're having a conversation in front of this giant machine. Unfortunately, I can't speak on that because that gets into my series, I guess, theories for Mr. Robot, so I can't comment on that. But and then let me see. So we see Elliot waking up. He goes to see Darlene, and we learned that I guess Mr. Robot's plan is just to straight up blow up the recovery building for E Corp. And Elliot's just like, what the fuck? Like there could be people in there when they try to blow this up, because this will remove all the main backup storage files for E Corp, I guess. So Elliot tries to do something, create some kind of backdoor or some shit so he can stop them from blowing up this building, or Mr. Robot blowing up this building rather. And then we go to that this kind of club-like scene where it's like a group of hackers where they hang out. That one scene is actually my favorite one-take sequence from all of Mr. Robot, at least for me personally. I thought it was done perfectly, okay? It was done perfectly. Some of the most batshit camera work I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, it is fluid. It is like, there's no like camera stuttering or frame stuttering. Like, it is like literally perfect to that song I was telling you about, Dub Virus. It is so perfect. As soon as that was happening with Ellie and Darlene walk into that hacker group, I think it takes place about 20-ish minutes into the premiere episode, season 3. I was like, oh, we are in uncharted territory. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, you know, the thing that's so great about the series is that it's unpredictable. You know, like during this sort of scene where they're in this hacker lair, I suppose, it's like, you know, it's the Dark Army, or they just gotta show up guns blazing, you know what I'm saying? It's like, could this be Darlene's last moments for all we know? It's just brilliant filmmaking, and that one take sequence was exceptional to me. What did you think about that?
I love it. I remember watching it on TV. I was like, oh, this is right when the doors opened, and then the music started playing, and you see that tracking shot, and then you see the see-through stairs, or the glass bridge, and then I was like, and then it was a moment where I'm like, oh god, how this is gonna be another long take, because there's just so many long takes in the show, but that one was stood out so well.
Oh
because,
my god!
Because there was a moment where Elliot was like, oh, this place is very loud. Let me see. Imagine if it was quiet, and then it literally muted, and I was like, oh my god,
like an iPod?
I was like, I was like, I was like, because I have an Apple TV, and then I was like, did I just mute it? And then I realized, oh, that was a show doing that, messing with my brain. Yeah. So that was so cool, because it went from the upstairs down the stairs towards the hacker computers, and then it followed the guys that were following them, and then it followed Darlene, and then it followed Darlene to the bathroom, and then that's when them opening the door, and I was like, yo, Sam Esmail, and it blows my mind that I don't want to get too ahead, but like it blows my mind that Sam Esmail directs every single episode of this show from season 2 and 3. That just blows my mind.
Does he? Damn.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, True Detective, they did that for 8 episodes. And this guy directs it for like he directed each episode of season 2 and 3, which I'm like, I don't know how this guy like doesn't get tired, because that's insane. And yeah, that long take was amazing. And
I mean, that's my personal favorite one, because it's like a perfect visual representation of the show, you know?
Yes.
At least for me personally, with sonically and visually, it captures that like dark, brooding nature of the show like so perfectly. I was really blown away by that one take sequence. Another thing that I want to shout out about the premiere is another extraordinary monologue from Rami Malek, where he mentions Trump, and there's actually footage of Donald Trump. That one was pretty exceptional, pretty much on par with the the monologue that Rami made in season 2 about God, where he ultimately says the fuck God, literally, which I thought was extraordinarily striking. Let me see.
How did he not get nominated for an Emmy, yo? It just blows my mind that he hasn't gotten. He won for season 1, but like it surprised me that they haven't nominated him for Best Actor in a Drama Series. Which is like, I love Sterling K. Brown, don't get me wrong, but come on.
Yeah.
Rami Malek, like, there's like 2 monologues in season 2 that are incredible. The one with God, and there's another one that I can't remember where. There's one where he's like talking to Christian Slater, and it's like, I think it was the premiere of season 2, and he's just like or the second episode where he's laughing, and because he just cannot control his insanity anymore. And then like I was like, yo, this guy is insane, and I actually like, I just feel he's getting robbed for like not getting nominated at all, which like, come on, man. Like I know he's like probably not mad or anything, but I'm like, come on, especially since Kevin Spacey's not gonna get any nominations anytime soon, with House of Cards no longer with him being in the lead anymore. So come on, give Rami Malek some love, man. Come on.
Yeah, I can't speak to what he's been, or I can't speak to his nominations. I know he has won an Emmy, I'm pretty sure, for playing Mr. Robot, at least in season 1. Unless I'm deeply mistaken somehow. I'm pretty sure they won, but that's good enough for me. If he gets nominated again or doesn't, the fact that he's just at least won once is pretty fantastic enough for me. Let me see. I'm trying to skim through episode 2, where he starts. Elliot starts working for E Corp.
The opening montage was awesome, by the way.
Yeah, the opening montage in that episode was pretty fantastic. He sees a psychiatrist again. Let me see. Oh yeah, and then that one chick just got her shit fucked up. What's her name? Joana.
Joana. Oh yeah.
Yeah, when she gets shot in the car by that BDSM worthless boyfriend or whatever. I did not see that coming. That was definitely like totally left field, because the driver had beat the fuck out of that ex-boyfriend, and I thought, well, that's probably enough. And no, dude gets out of the car and just caps her in the face.
Mm-hmm.
And
you see the blood on the baby's face as like the camera is like giving like that camera angle where you see what's going on. I'm like, oh man, because she had a big storyline in season 2, and then when they killed her off, I was like, whoa.
What?
I was like, and then when the FBI, and you see them like drilling her skull, I was like, oh.
Yeah, trying to, I guess, take the bullet out or some shit. I was like, oh my god.
That was insane.
And I always lose track throughout this whole season that Santiago is actually like a dirty cop, for lack of a better term. I lose sight of that all the time, which is, that could be the result of binge watching. But
but it wasn't revealed that he was bad until the next episode, which is because in season 2 you're kind of like, because in season 2 that was a big thing when I was watching it live. I was like, wait a minute, this guy really isn't helping Dominique at all. And I was wondering if he was under White Rose's payroll, and then later on we figure out, yep, he was, which was like, I thought that made more sense, because I was like, man, like, why is he like legit like not helping out, especially with the shootout that was happening in I think China that Dominique was a part of, and then how when Cisco died and how he just like really didn't do anything to help out Dominique. I was like, wait a minute, something's up with this guy. But then when the next episode with the exposition Tyrell episode, which I love so much, with the I don't want to get too ahead, but I'm not sure if you want to get to that episode before we finish episode 2.
I had to jump on Google really quick because there's something that's just bothering me. I can't for the life of me think of what that one guy's character name is. The guy who's closely connected.
White Roses. Yeah.
Yeah, it's bothering me now, so I need to figure out what his name is. I can't remember because I think the actor's name is Grant Chang, but I can't remember the character's name.
I want to say it's Chang, but I can't remember either. But he was really good part of this season too. But something else that I think that happened in episode 2.
Well, I
don't think that was.
I think maybe his name is Grant because it just says Grant / White Rose's assistant. But I think his real life name is Grant Chang. That's why it's fucking me up. It really is. Like I'm like, wait, what? Because I thought he did such a fine job, so I wanted to give him a proper shout out, but. I'm just gonna call him Grant.
All right, let's call him Grant.
Yeah, and just go from there because I can't remember. Anyway, I think you were talking about the shit. I think you were talking about the exposition scene between what's the guy's name?
Next episode.
Philip
Sorry.
Price and White Rose in episode 2. I think it's episode 2.
Oh, I think about the whole thing with the Congo. Yeah, that's a storyline in the show. I still have no idea what it's about. Like, I know the Washington Township plant was introduced in the first episode, and then that's been a big thing in season 2 also about taking it to the Congo with the mines in Africa or something like that. And then I guess they want to try to. I don't know what White Rose's aim game is. That's another video for. There's so many theories about that. Like, trust me, I don't want to go. I don't want to go that far. But their scenes together though with Price and White Rose are always fantastic. I love like the different like mindsets of like these corporate powerful people just like manipulating each other and like it's so cool. It's a cool dynamic, and obviously the next episode has a lot of some people call the next episode an exposition episode, which it kind of is, but I feel like it was necessary because Tyrell wasn't really in season 2 that much, so I think he deserved to like get for us to at least know what the hell happened after the hack in season 1 with the 5/9 hack. So, but I don't know what your thoughts were, kind of like, and I love there was like a lot of Shining references in episode 3. Like the opening crawl-ish, and then like the tracking shot, and then the axe and everything like that. And the guy that was so trippy. There's an episode season 2 where it felt like a David Lynch movie, and then there was a similar scene in this episode where Tyrell's being interrogated by the guy from The Princess Bride, and then where he's like, "Have you ever cheated? Did you murder Sharon Knowles?" And then he's like constantly repeating the questions to him, and it's like so like trippy. I'm like, what's going on? And then he finally breaks down, and then but the part that he was like most true in that statement was that he's willing to be he's going to be loyal to Elliot only, which is a really cool kind of arc for Tyrell. Especially, I think that was kind of like a thing set up since episode 1 of the show when he says "Bonsoir, Elliot," and it's always been like Tyrell and Elliot are always going to be this kind of like this parallel between one another. He's like, it's our destiny, Elliot. It's our destiny. It's so funny when he be yelling at Elliot. It's so funny. But
it's kind of like a Batman and Joker thing going on, sort of.
I could see that too.
Just a couple things I want to shout out about episode 2. It's interesting that Elliot and Crystal Gordon, his psychiatrist, still communicate. And I guess when Elliot sort of lets Mr. Robot take over him kind of literally, and like she gets to speak to Mr. Robot, I thought that was fascinating because it's almost like Elliot's multiple personality disorder situation. It's almost becoming like a. It's almost like Elliot is like some bizarre Marvel vigilante character, like a Marvel comic books character. Seriously,
Yeah.
he would fit seamlessly into M. Night Shyamalan's Splits. It's almost like Mr. Robot, like for real, is like a superpower in an almost literal sense. There was one actor that for some reason Amazon's not pulling up his fucking name for some reason. But anyways, about 41 minutes into episode 2, for Christ's sake, there's a character that Elliot's speaking to that is like straight out of the first season, where he fucked this guy over, and the guy had a dog, and he gives the dog to Elliot.
Oh yeah, that guy.
For some reason, Amazon's not bringing up his name, but that guy. Anyway, I just thought it was weird that that connected back, and Elliot got that dog. I was just like, what the fuck? We're really going full circle here. Okay, let's move on to episode 3 here. It's also kind of insane that Darlene like is a traitor. I had conflictions about this for a bit, but I'll let it slide. It did really bother me at first because I was like, Darlene doesn't really seem like the one that would crack, but okay, all right. It took me a little bit to get over that hill.
I don't mind it really that much, just because, especially how much she's lost, and especially the ending of season 2 when she sees all the evidence that, well, the what the FBI knows so far, and with the death of Cisco, I feel like, I think her intentions were to kind of like, not to betray Elliot, because literally there was like no one else she could like. What else could she really do? The only person she could kind of trust was Dominique. And
no, true. I mean, when that episode, whatever the fuck episode that is, I'm assuming that was from season 2. When Dominique kind of walks Darlene to the FBI.
That was a cool shot, by the way.
Yeah, and she like sees this board and kind of sees how much research Dominic has done. I suppose. I kind of got over it. It's definitely 100% a big time nitpick. It just didn't seem. I don't know. It just didn't seem like enough to make Darlene be like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna crack and be a traitor now." But I'll just let it go. It's not. I wouldn't call it a substantial flaw, but just a nitpick for me, 100%.
Mm-hmm. I understand.
Episode 3. Or wait, what the fuck just happened? This bitch just went all the way. By the way, Anthony, he can't see me. Long story, but so I'm pulling up information from Amazon because there's just too much information for me to keep track of. So episode 3 was like a flashback episode with Tyrell that you were mentioning, and we get a lot of answers as to like what was going on with this fool all this time, which I thought was cool. I thought it worked. Like when The Walking Dead tries to do episodes like this, they almost like 80-90% of the time do it the wrong way.
Exactly. Filler. It's not a filler episode, yeah.
Yeah, definitely not filler. I thought this was a pretty compelling episode. The conversation that you were talking about between Williams and Tyrell definitely was bizarre, with him asking those questions over and over again until Tyrell cracks. And then, what's his name? My boy, Bobby Cannaville?
Irving.
Yeah, Irving. Yeah, he's just great. It's just great. I totally thought it was convincing that Tyrell was just stuck on this private land all this time. Good God. Okay, when he decides to run away and he gets the beard. By the way, shout out to Martin Wilstrom's acting. It took to this episode for me to be like, oh wow, he really is a great actor. Jesus Christ. But particularly with the beard, I don't know. It just painted him in a different light for me, I suppose. But Anthony, can you still hear me? He might have. Can you still hear me? Or see me?
Okay, yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. But I was just about to talk about the one where Tyrell, where he gets picked up by a cop, and he's trying to like pull his fucking hands through the handcuffs. That was so intense. Like I totally lost track of the fact that I was watching a flashback, so he was gonna be all right. Obviously, I like totally lost track of that because I was so invested in the moment. And when he was like breaking his thumb and shit, trying to get out of the handcuffs, I was like, whoa, whoa.
I know.
And then Santiago comes up and fucking blasts that cop, and you realize just how truly dirty he is. I was like, holy shit. I don't really particularly have too much to add to episode 3, but I thought it was a brilliant. Not only in the sense that it gave us quite a few answers to questions that I had, but I just thought it was a great flashback episode.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I pretty much said everything I kind of thought about the episode 2. I love the episode, love the acting and the dynamic between Tyrell and Irving. And I love the scene. There's a scene towards the end, and it was mentioned in season 2 also, where Tyrell says, "I love Elliot, I love him," and then I'm like, the heck is he talking about right now? Right. And like how I never understood that from season 2, but in this episode it kind of explored a little bit in the beginning when Mr. Robot tried to kill Tyrell in the beginning, and then the gun didn't pull through, and then Tyrell believed with all his heart that it is their destiny, that they're gods, that they can't be killed. I just thought that was so fascinating, and then like how that's why he was like he loves Elliot, and kind of like that he views him as like more than a human in a way, which is like a really interesting relationship that they have. But I just thought that was really really good character development for Tyrell, because Tyrell from season 1, I always thought he was kind of like an interesting character because he was like this protege who always wanted to be the CTO of Evil Corp, and now like seeing how like his getting more backstory on his life and his kind of mindset, I'm like, yo, he's a great character, and it made me appreciate Tyrell a lot more. Just shout out to the writers and the acting, obviously.
Yeah, it's definitely exceptional. I know losing track of where I'm at. Well, the next episode, I guess it's episode 4. I thought was really brilliant when we saw, it was Dominic and some other FBI guy. They realized that Elliot has caught on to them watching him. I thought that was so brilliant on Elliot's part. And then they enter the building where I guess the FBI have been hiding out, spying on Elliot. That was dope. I just thought that was so sick watching, because Dominique, she's so smart, like she's so fantastic at her job. It took a long time for that to sink in for me. Like she's just so spot on. Like you almost feel like she's always like 2 steps behind you. No matter what, she's so good. And I was just like, Jesus, when Elliot is confronting Darlene about like, what's going on? You're watching me, you're spying on me, what's this bullshit? I thought that the Elliot finding out about the FBI was going to happen there, and like it bizarrely didn't. So I thought that was interesting. So I was like, man, I don't really know how Elliot or Mr. Robot are going to respond to her being a traitor, really. And then there's a scene at this Red Wheelbarrow restaurant with Irving and Angela eating ribs that, to me, is so substantial. But I can't talk about it because that gets into my theories, so we're just going to
time travel.
But I think it's extremely substantial, that scene. And then there's a really great sequence with this creepy motherfucker who gets captured. I think his character name was Sasan Nori or some shit. That was fascinating. What else? Is there anything else I'm particularly say about this episode? Oh, yeah! There's one trippy sequence in a basement where I guess Elliot werewolfed himself, and Mrs. Robot came through and was talking to Angela and Tyrell, and Elliot kind of like flickers back into the moment for a second. Um, it's almost like Elliot's a werewolf, you know?
Yeah. Like he's like he only like his monster only comes out at night. Like that's a
Yeah,
cool parallel. Yeah, I can see what you mean there. It's interesting dynamic. That was so cool. I love the like. I know the show doesn't have like a big budget, but they just make it look like the scope of it looks so grand, and the way it was like edited, like it was like glitchy,
hmm
and then like it was so cool the way they did that, and then Angela like just got that needle and knocked him out, which was like dang. Because I was
right,
like,
right.
because it's funny because when you said about Darlene being a traitor, I was like, I was really skeptical about Angela being a traitor. You know, using Elliot, Mr. Robot's side to like, you know, get all those files in that building, and then like not telling Elliot and being nice to him when he's back to his normal self. And I'm like, yo, that's messed up. And then
Yeah,
in this episode, I was like, "Yo, Angela, I don't know how I feel about this. I remember like it's good for the story, but like personally, I'm like, dang, like, that's your friend since you were like a kid, and you're like just
yeah.
using him. Like that's so messed up, you know."
I found Angela's whole arc to be more believable than Darlene being a traitor to the extent that she was. Like it totally makes sense where Angela went. At least for
Yeah,
me, like it fit, you know. Especially with her sort of believing that E Corp is responsible
I understand. Yes,
for her mother's death. What was that? Um, oh, he'll probably be back in a second. But episode 5. Oh, can you hear me now? Oh shit! Hold on a second, peeps. We're gonna try to call him back. But anyways, I'm gonna keep going here. Episode 5 was brilliant because that was the one that was done in one take. One take, people. I mean, oh, hold on. I think we might have him back here. All right, can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I think. All right, I think we got you back. I was just talking about episode 5. That's the episode where the whole episode was done in one take. I thought that was totally brilliant. I mean, it's weird because I mean, it was and it wasn't. You know what I mean? Like, it. I mean, there. I wish I could find a better word, but since I can't, there's definitely like cheating. But to be fair, it would be very difficult to legitimately. And when I say cheating, like for example, like when let's say at the beginning of the episode when Elliot is walking into the office and he sits down next to a computer, and there's this guy who's always talking about like all these chicks that he banged or whatnot. Like for example, like every time they cut to the computer monitor, more than likely there's a cut there, or someone like walks by during a one take sequence. That's not a coincidence that they walked by in such a way that the camera was literally blocked for a second and then it came back. It's not a coincidence because a cut happened there. So, like in fairness to them, it'd be so difficult to make the events that happened in this episode a literal one take with literally no cuts. To be fair, this episode was very much done similar to how Birdman was done with their long take sequences. So. Technically speaking, the whole episode was done in one take, but I'm just saying, not really. But anyway, moving on. The episode is brilliant though, because I don't know that I've ever seen any episode to any show that was done in one take. And the moment where Elliot is outside and Darlene tells him that she's been working with the FBI was such an intense moment. Well, the whole episode was fucking heart-stopping. You know what I mean? Jesus Christ. Particularly towards the back half of this episode with Angela. I honestly thought Angela might have just got capped in the face by a rioter, for all I knew. I don't know if there's anything else I really want to say about episode 5. I just thought it was brilliant. I don't know if you have anything else to...
No, I agree. I think it might be the most like. I think this episode I've rewatched the most this season just because of like I know it wasn't done in one take, but I thought it was so
Right.
it was so cool. It was so like impressive how they were able to like, make us feel, and nothing dragged. That was surprising me. Like easily,
No.
like, anything like that could have been like some parts that were slow, but like you were following Elliot through the first half of it, and then when it went to Angela, like it was so like impressive, and like there was one shot that I thought was cool. It was like a God's eye view of Angela when she closed the door to go inside that room, and then the camera, it's still up there in that God's view, but then it goes outside of the building and you see like the like stuff going on from the outside, from that high of an angle. I don't know how to describe it. It's like you pretty much saw. It's probably a green screen, but I was like, yo, that's cool. That was something like compared to like something from like Mission Impossible 4 when you saw like the ground. I'm like, yo, that's a cool shot. And that was just Sam Esmail just like being, yeah, I know this is cool, right? Like he was just being cocky at that moment. But I thought it was cool, and I thought that was a really important moment too, when Irving was like, "Why were you in that room?" And then that's when I was like, "Oh snap!" Like, so I remember at that moment, and then when he said to her at that moment, "This is for the cause," and I'm like, I wonder what he means by that, which we'll obviously explore. And then in the next following episodes. But one quick thing, I thought it was a little detail that I didn't even notice the first time I saw the episode, and I noticed this when I was watching the AfterBuzz TV guys talk about this episode, is when Angela is leaving that room and she has the mask on her face.
Yeah.
And she's about to go to the elevator. In the back of her, you see a guy running towards the same room that she was just in, holding a backpack. And then when I paused it, I'm like, that's Elliot. And he's going. So some way somehow he went back into the building, and after he went to that room, he went up the other side of that room, and then that's how he met up with her in that floor, where she obviously meets him at the end, which I thought that was a really small detail. That I was like, wow, Sam Esmail legit knows what he's doing. Little details like that, yeah. Like there's nothing in the show that's by accident. Everything
is a beast. He's a beast. God, that
Mm-hmm.
episode, I just couldn't believe that the episode was just done in one take like that. I was just like, what? Like, I almost just vomited on myself. But anyway, so at episode 6, there is another substantial moment, in my opinion, which is a flashback moment with Mr. Robot. Christian.
Yes.
Well, I guess just pause for a second. Christian Slater is like extraordinary. For some reason, like I always lose track of like Christian Slater is amazing on this series. It's probably the best performance I've ever even seen from the man. He is just so convincing as Mr. Robot. Period. From being this sort of menacing figure to being this sweetheart dad, like he just nails it every time. Just totally nails it. So shout out to him for real. Isn't this dude like in his 40s or 50s or some shit?
Yeah, this guy's been acting for a long time, and this show is kind of like his. I don't want to say comeback, but like it's kind of like his resurgence as an actor. Yeah, I mean, my favorite performance by him is probably True Romance. But besides that, this show, I think this is his best performance ever. Like he's so good. He has so many jobs in this show. He has to be threatening. He has to be nice, to in the flashback with young Elliot. He has to be like, showing moments of regret and sadness, and all at the same time trying to be happy and trying to align, especially with the scene with young Angela and with her mom. Yeah, that scene, which I have a small theory about that. I don't want to say it, because that girl looks exactly like the girl from The Room when
No. It is. That was the thing that I skipped around because at the beginning of the episode 6, there's a flashback with Mr. Robot talking to young Angela. That's how it's credited. Yes. And it is the same actress.
Interesting.
From season 2, where there was that really bizarre moment where White Rose was talking to Angela in that room, and Angela was talking to that little girl. That little girl there and the little girl here, her name is Mabel Tyler. It's the same actress. First off.
Wow.
Also, there's a song playing in the background called "Back in Time." Again, I can't comment. I can't comment on this flashback. that gets into my theories video. But yes, it is the same actress. I thought I was losing my mind when I saw this moment. Because I was like, I don't know if this is effects of binge watching, but like, has binge watching sort of like warped my consciousness? Because this feels like the same actress, little girl from that weird moment with Angela last season. And it turned out it was.
Because I didn't remember it. Because that's the thing. That's why I envy you, because you still have that fresh in your mind. When I first saw that, I was like, oh, that's young Angela, because I recognized her being blonde. And then because the first time I saw it, I'm like, wait a minute. And I remember thinking back on it like an hour after I watched the episode. I'm like, wait a minute. And I looked on Reddit, and I already saw someone already posted a picture of the girl from season 2 and this girl. I'm like, oh snap.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I see you, Sam. I see you. Okay.
It's insane. We get another brilliant dialogue sequence between White Rose and Philip Price, which, for the record, Philip Price has never been a character that I've been personally, I guess, attached to or invested in. I do find him intriguing. I'm not wild about. The thing that really makes Philip Price work for me is that the actor Michael Christopher. I think he's just he handles the performance so well. There's just so many small nuances to his performance as Philip Price, and he has just a godly voice as well.
Yes, your precious Congo will not be over here. White Rose, you will not win today. I'm like, yo, this guy's a boss. I love this character.
Yeah, I think him and B.D. Wong, I think they must have done like some theater, maybe a lot of theater acting or something like that.
Yeah.
Because they are both just pretty exceptional in the roles, particularly White Rose. Okay, White Rose is one of the most cryptic, fascinating, bizarre villains I think I've ever seen for a TV show. Like, I have like a list of questions about the man. Every time White Rose is in the room, there's just something magnetic about B.D. Wong's performance.
Yeah, and I'm so dumb because it wasn't until like I think the second half of season 2 where I realized, oh, White Rose is transgender. I didn't realize that.
No, it took me till like I think I finished the show to realize they was. I thought he just like.
I thought they were two completely different people. I had no idea.
Oh! Well, I didn't think they were two completely different people. I just thought like.
No, that's what I meant. Sorry, I thought that's not what I meant. I meant that I thought that he was a guy that dressed as a girl. That's why I think that's pretty much what I was thinking.
That's what I thought. I thought, I guess he just likes to dress as women on Tuesdays.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. I was like, oh, because I remember when he peed on the original CEO of E Corp's grave, and I'm like, how does that work? Like, I don't know. I don't know if he. I don't know. There's so many questions about that character that I find so fascinating. Like, White Rose, like, legit thinks. I don't know if I should refer to it as a he or she, but I'll just say White Rose. I'll just say he for she. I would say she for not because.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be she.
Yeah, because especially the first introduction of White Rose in season 1 was presented as a woman, so I'll say like she for now. But she is so like amazingly like manipulative and just like understands like there's a bigger picture that we're not seeing, and I'm like. I just want to know what White Rose is thinking. Like, what is her end goal? You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy.
Let me see what else. We see Dominique just always getting closer and fucking closer. There's a brilliant sequence where Elliot is trying to run to stop something, but like Mr. Robot is like cutting in like, every few minutes and shit. And, like that was bizarre. That was bizarre. Because it's almost like, for once, Mr. Robot and Elliot are sort of separated, if you feel what I'm saying. Obviously, they're not separated, but you know what I mean? Like, it feels like they're detached from each other this season, which I thought was a fascinating route to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. I love it so much, especially, like, because you get now a different perspective of what what they're doing on their own time now, because in season 1 and 2 you just got them together in the same room. Now you see them. I feel bad for Elliot. Like the man, like he is technically awake 24/7, right? When you really think about it, like if he sleeps as his own self, but then he's awake as Mr. Robot. Like,
Yeah.
I just thought that was a little like detail. I'm like, dang, can the human brain contain that much like non-sleep? You know what I mean? I don't know why. I'm just messing around, but yeah, that's like that's what made like season 3 kind of fresh. Also, that they weren't really together until like maybe like 3 scenes in season 3, like literally together. Like I think the last episode and the one moment in the elevator in the last episode, in episode 5, which I thought was really cool. But
right. Was there anything else in particular I want to say about episode 6? I believe this is the episode where we see Tyrell being handcuffed outside, and Dominique shows up, and Tyrell's like, "You have to stop the attack," basically.
Oh yeah, and then we get our kind of like our 9/11-esque.
Oh my god! Yeah, thing. The ending of episode 6 was so seismic to me.
Yeah.
That not only did the building blow, but like
71 buildings like exploded in the country. It's crazy.
That ending was so insane to me, because like I really thought that they were gonna do. I don't know why I thought this, but I thought they were gonna do the obvious and stop the building from exploding. But it was like, no, not only did the building explode, like 70 or whatever it was, other buildings, 71 buildings explode as well, and ending with Elliot watching this on the TV screens.
His acting, yes. His acting was so good in that scene. You just felt his guilt and his like it dawned on him, like we failed, like and it also dawned on me because I was like, because Angela kept saying they're gonna evacuate the building, they're gonna evacuate the building, they're gonna like she kept saying that to herself, and it was at that moment I realized, no, they got played this entire time. They were just being puppeteered, just for this, big thing that White Rose was trying to do, and there's so many parts of this thing that I'm like, yo, there's so many ways I could view this. Like, was it in White Rose's original plan to destroy the 71 building, or was that as a result of Elliot continuing to interfere with their plan? I still have no idea.
I don't know. It just turned my brain. What's weird is that this show this season has almost gotten better the more that we've been talking about it. Because I watched this so quickly. Like, guys really just don't know. Like, in the span of like 2.5 or 4 days, like I literally just watched season 2 and 3. So it's a lot. I feel like I'm like malfunctioning, but. Yeah, when it ended with him watching that on the TV screens, it was very equivalent to a very similar thing in a way happening at the end of Watchmen, which I don't want to spoil for someone.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Watchmen, because Watchmen's been my favorite book for a lot of years now. It was very similar to that. In fact, I would actually be curious if Sam Esmail has read Watchmen. I'd be really curious to know what his thoughts were of Watchmen, but because I'd be very curious if there was any kind of influence of that on Mr. Robot.
I know that most of his influence was American Psycho. Fight Club obviously is a big influence on him.
Yeah.
And then there was something else that he was mentioning that I read like an interview a couple years ago where he was talking about like his main influence on Mr. Robot. But I think what I love about the show real quick is that he always updates his, because he said that Mr. Robot was supposed to be a one long movie, and then he does it to a TV show, and he already knows how the series is going to end, which is which is fantastic because we know he has an end goal. He knows how it's going to end. We know it will have some kind of finale and some kind of conclusion for the characters, and I just love how he said in an interview that he's always been influenced by the world today, and as a result puts that on the show. Like, for example, like the whole thing with Donald Trump, he amplified that because when he wrote the script, Trump wasn't even president at the time, so he implemented that into the show to show the relevance it is in our society, which I think is just relevant because, and around the time when this episode aired, I think it was around the time right after the Las Vegas shootings, and there's a lot of things going on in the world, and I was like, yo, I relate to this because it's so, even though it's fiction, I still relate to it because it's like, it's important. He's making a statement with these kind of like, things because the whole thing about season 1 was, we're going to be in this revolution. We're gonna make everyone go back to zero. Or we're gonna do this, and then him showing realistically, if you were to do that, it's not gonna end good. There are consequences for this, and it's showing. That's why I feel like this whole season was kind of like a redemption arc. It's like the things you do will have consequences, and that was like the big kind of thing in this show, which I thought.
I think. Well, before we go any further,
sorry.
One thing I was just gonna say one thing I love about season 3 is that, and I don't want to obviously get deep into Star Wars because I know you didn't like the film, but it's really a perfect representation of why I loved The Last Jedi so much. I would actually say that Last Jedi and season 3 of Mr. Robot share a lot of very similar DNA when it comes to giving the audience answers, because the answers are so sometimes not only simplistic, but they're just so jarring.
Yeah, because, I know what you mean. Yeah,
they're just delivered in such unexpected ways. And it's not going to work for everyone, but they're so unexpected, and they're so unexpectedly emotional,
yeah, I know.
The realization that Elliot has failed, or, when you watch The Last Jedi, the realization where you find out what's happened to Mark Hamill all these past years on this island, the answers are just so devastating to me, and to me it's like, yeah, that's what the route was to go, at least to me. But anyway.
No, I understand. That's a good point, because like sometimes the answers are not what we want, but it's tragic, but it makes sense for the story. You know what I mean? That's right. What I think, that they do share those similarities. Even though I didn't love The Last Jedi, I understand the direction they wanted to go, and I respect the choices they made. That's not my issue. My only issue is that I just didn't like the direction they personally went with.
Right.
And but I understand that for the story that they wanted to tell, that's what they wanted to do. And I feel with Mr. Robot, you honestly cannot that's what I felt with that kind of like thing with The Last Jedi too. Like, I had no idea what was going to happen next. In The Last Jedi, I was like, there's so many storylines. I have no idea what is going on. Like, how is this going to end, But yeah, shout out to The Last Jedi. We crossed $1 billion.
I love The Last Jedi so much. The fan reaction to it is so depressing. But anyway, so episode 7 is a great example with Leon and Trenton and Mobley.
I love this episode.
The flashbacks with them, like their fate. I can't say that I didn't see their fate coming, but the execution is something that I would have never imagined. I would have never imagined it being just so bittersweet and just so dark,
Yeah, I know.
I was like, damn.
Because the thing is, like, it's that's why the finale, and I don't want to skip ahead, is because like when Mobley is trying to convince them, look, we can help you, and then they still decided to sacrifice their deaths for the big picture that White Rose is trying to do. And that's why when the finale happens and Elliot tries to do the same thing, I'm like, dang, that's tragic. Like, I feel like if Mobley and Trent were to, like, I don't know, did like offer something, they may have survived this event, which was tragic. They got blamed for it in their deaths. I was a little bit sad because we only saw them for like one episode, but because I did not expect them to die at all. I thought they were gonna like stick around for at least another season to try to help out Elliot or Darlene and like try to do something. But no, Sam Esmail. This was like Game of Thrones. Like he was like, let me kill off some characters in this show.
The unpredictability is what I live for.
I love it. And like this episode was so cool because like the house that they were living in, I don't know about you, but I thought that was the exact same house from Breaking Bad that Walter White was living in. That's what it reminded me of. Like it felt like a mix of like Sicario / like Breaking Bad, like dialogue. I don't know. It was like a mix of the both for me in that episode.
And also in episode, I believe we're at 7 now. We're finding out that like the amount of people who died from the bombings, it's like over 3,000 people or some shit. And I was like, oh my god, the sequence when Agent Santiago he tells Tyrell about what happened
his
to
wife,
Joana, and his kid was just shattering to me. I was just like. I was like, oh my god, like
especially when you realize what he's been through for like the past year when he was in hiding. You just realize everything he tried to do was for his wife, and then when you realize when he finds out that she's dead, I'm like, oh man,
yeah,
that's so heartbreaking. And like now they're gonna and Santiago's like he was just like he didn't really care. He was like, we're gonna send your child to whatever daycare or whatever to like live with someone else, and then your wife's dead, so now you're not gonna get custody of your child. So best of luck with you. And then Tyrell, like, I just felt so bad for him because you just like he's been trying to like help with the cause for White Rose for a year. The whole reason in season 1, his wife told him, "Do whatever you have to do for the family. Go do whatever you have to do." You know, and then him doing it, and then now, well, what's the like result of? And especially when, in the last episode when he told Irving, look, these are my conditions. If you do this for me, I'll do this for you. But I want me, my wife, and my child to go back to Switzerland. I don't want to be a part of this anymore. That's our deal. And then Irving obviously already knew at that point that she was dead. So it just like it makes it even more tragic in that event with Santiago. Ah, man, poor Tyrell.
Yeah,
poor guy. He can't catch a break.
He got totally just that had to have been rough. But what else can I say about this episode? I think the only other thing that I was gonna say, let me see, I'm skipping around to the episode. Oh, the sequence with Angela hitting the rewind button, and she was
that
like,
was creepy.
"Oh, they're dead here, they're alive there." This also is a major part of my Siri video that I can't comment about. But let's see, episode 8. What the fuck happened in episode 8? Oh, that was the episode with the kid, Muhammad and Elliot. What an awesome episode. This was probably the most emotionally powerful episode for me personally, because it was just so unexpected. And it was like one of the few times where I was like, Jesus Christ, it's something lighthearted like happening in Mr. Robot for an extended amount of time. You know what I mean? It's like I was not ready for this. I almost have like tears welling up in my eyes and shit. It was just so well done. I've never done the technique of putting M&Ms in my popcorn, but I might fucking try it. You know what I mean?
Or what's the other thing people use to put in their popcorn? Now I can remember. It's like in Whiplash. They put it in the popcorn. I think it's like raisins. Was it raisins?
It was something with raisins. It's something chocolate with raisins. It's some shit that I don't eat, clearly. But
they made it look delicious in this.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can't think of the name of the candy. It's something that's like chocolatey with raisins in it. I can't think of what the hell it's called.
But that was some good product placement. They made it look delicious. I was like, yeah, I could try.
Shout out to the attention to detail at the beginning of this episode with showing Christian Slater like fall out from his condition. I think it's like leukemia or some shit.
Yes, which I think is not. Quick. Do you think that actually happened, or do you think that was fake?
I took it as it happened just as they showed us. Could be wrong. But
interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I actually think that scene never happened because Elliot, which could contradict my point because he is a unreliable narrator, but
for sure.
And his grave, however, because the movie they watched in the theater came out like 1992, I think, and the year he died was like 95. So someone on Reddit posted that, and I don't remember the exact date, but I think it was a couple months before that year. So I think that I don't remember now if it was season 1 or 2 where someone said that his dad died in the hospital, and that was the last time he saw him. So I feel like there's part of that was manipulated a little bit. Which another thing, which kind of gets kind of like approved in a way because of what Darlene says to Elliot in the last episode, which we'll get to eventually also. But I feel like that might not have been completely true, especially like how Elliot says that's his last words to his dad. Because I don't remember which episode it was that he said that his last words to his dad was something completely different. But
I mean, it's definitely possible. I mean, he is such an unreliable narrator. But I was just going to say a shout out to the attention to detail in this flashback sequence. Like they had these fully restored like posters of Babe and the original Casper in the background, and I was just like, Jesus Christ, man, let me get them posters, son.
And the movie theater opening, yeah, that too. That was a cool detail.
Like, who the hell recreated those posters? That's insane. Let me see. I'm skimming through the episode. Oh yeah, and then there was an even really nice moment that I think you might have possibly already mentioned this, but about 11 minutes in, when he's kind of has a heart-to-heart moment with Darlene, I was like, Jesus Christ!
Oh yes, yeah.
Jesus.
That was it made me like got goosebumps when he said, you know, I liked it when he said that line to her where his guilt that he's so conflicted because he's like he knows he can't get rid of Mr. Robot, but at the same time he was feeling lonely in the first episode of season 3. He was like, or episode 2 of season 3, where he was like, he got the loneliness again from season 1, where he, you know, he gets that anxiety again, and him saying I liked it was like, whoa, like it was a good moment to show that he feels maybe because Mr. Robot is not like a different person. That's the other side of himself that he wants to unleash, but he knows that's the bad part of himself in a way that he knows he needs to control it. And that scene with Darlene was so emotionally, it was just emotional for me. Yeah, I agree.
For sure, because there's not many times that we get to see him sort of having a tender moment with Darlene like that this season. At least I thought anyway. So it was really nice. Another thing, about 28 minutes in to episode 8, where it's Muhammad and Elliot. They're about to go see Back to the Future 2. Which, how dope was that? I can't remember. I can't remember what the other choice was. Oh yeah, it was The Martian. And
The Martian, yeah.
He was like, hey, let's go see The Martian. And I'm paraphrasing deeply. But Miss Robot was like, what the fuck do you want to see that for? That first off, that looks terrible. Second off, Back to the Future is way better. I thought that was so funny. It was just an adorable little moment. It was dope. But, again, about 28 minutes into the episode, some of the dialogue that's happening there, where they're trying to describe what Back to the Future is about. Again, that also is another substantial thing for my theory video that I can't get into. But, also, was I the only one who thought that Elliot could have possibly been imagining the kid? It took me a long time to kind of be like, okay, maybe the kid actually is there. Because just the way that he came up to Elliot when he was on the beach and Elliot was about to pull out the drugs, I was just like, what the fuck? Did he just manifest this kid here? Like...
Yeah, I kind of like, I kind of thought maybe it was a manifestation of like his guilt. Maybe in a way, yeah. But I remember because Tyrell wasn't real in season 2, so I was like, this kid probably might be real. And then when he said that he followed him from Trenton's house, I was like, okay, the kid's legit. But it was really bizarre too when they were walking. And like a little attention to detail, you see like the army, like guarding like this like street, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I don't know, but yeah, I didn't think that he was fake yet. I think it was right when they were when they were walking. I was like, yeah, he's probably real.
Yeah, I mean, it was just for like a few minutes because it just felt the kid's story just felt really reaching. I was like, what the fuck? This kid just decided to just follow like a borderline stranger for how many many miles? You know what I mean? Like I was like, I don't know. That seems a little bit unbelievable to me. But no, apparently, I guess the kid was there. So I guess
yeah, that's why it was so bizarre because like we never got. I never knew that Trenton had a little brother. We just knew that Trenton always had the reason why she got into the whole hack thing was so that she could get her family a better life. And then when you realize that's her little brother, and he's trying to like find answers, like I could relate to them because he's just trying to like find closure. Like he knows his sister is a good person, so he's kind of like not. I don't want to say he's going insane, but he's just trying to find. Like he sees Elliot as an opportunity to maybe find some answers. So I kind of understand that perspective a little bit. Why he followed her, but then later on when you realize that he had the key to the house the entire time and he was just lying to Elliot, I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, that was a very sweet, just a very unexpectedly sweet episode. I was like, what the fuck, Sam?
I hope he comes back. That kid, I like that kid. He was good.
I did
I hope
too.
he comes back.
I hope he goes to see the kid again. You know what I'm saying? They like form like
go watch The Martian or something.
Right, go watch The Martian.
Because I always forget that this show takes place in the same year. Because this show came out 2015 and it's still 3 seasons in, it's still in the year 2015, which I think is so interesting, you know, especially with the whole thing with Donald Trump. That's just a flash forward of the now, but in 2015, and then you get the flashback with Tyrell, and then White Rose is like, yeah, that's a little campaign for this guy, Donald Trump. He could be our president. I'm like, you see, this is why we can't have nice things in our society because of White Rose. But but yeah, the attention to detail in the show is amazing.
Yeah, episode 9. There's a brilliant one-take sequence between Mr. Robot and Tyrell. Again, Christian Slater is he just totally nails it in this show. Kind of just skimming through episode 9. I think this is when Darlene, she goes to sleep with Dominic to get that badge off her. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Which that was so unexpected. The fuck.
I was like, oh, some lesbian sex on Mr. Robot, nice, because we got some gay sex in season 1, so I was like, all right, that's cool, I guess. I was laughing so hard because I was like, I was wondering, is Dominique a lesbian because like she's always talking to Alexa all the time and she doesn't really have like a it's a social life, so that was interesting. Yeah,
I literally fucking went out and bought a Alexa product just because fucking I'm so serious. Like, Alexa, say hi. Oh wait, Alexa, say hi.
Hello.
But yeah, I went to fucking go purchase goddamn but literally because of Dominique. Like, I literally never even heard of that technology before. I was like, wait, what? This was in 2015. They didn't even know it existed.
That's hilarious.
Anyhow, moving on from that. But and again, Angela's like whole psychological breakdown. It's just like, what the fuck? And then there's like moments where Angela, it almost seems like she has like her own Mr. Robot somehow suddenly. And it's just like, what the flying fuck's going on? Again, ties into my theory video, but I think Angela's the answer to everything. I do. It sounds crazy, but I think she's the key to what's coming next. I don't really have anything else to say about episode 9. Let's dive into the finale here. Let me see.
So the episode starts with them going into they're going to Elliot's room, and then Elliot hiding in Shayla's old bedroom that she used to live, which is a really good foreshadowing, yeah.
Oh my god! Okay, so the opening title sequence, it opens up, Mr. Robot, directed by Sam Esmail, whatever. But the title sequence opens up on that CD. Because the finale is everything coming full circle. Circle. It opens on the disc, coming full circle, like Jesus Christ. It's just blowing my mind. And then Santiago sort of gives himself away and literally knocks out Dominique, which was such a moment. Or again, Christian Slater and Rami Malek on the Ferris wheel again, like literally coming full circle.
From season 1, yeah, I love it.
And then the scene in the barn, where Dominique and Darlene are sort of handcuffed, and Santiago is sort of revealing his villainous side. By the way, shout out to Joey Badass as Leon. What an unexpected, bizarre little hidden gem in this.
I know. When I first heard he was cast in the show, I was like, like I know I love his music. I was like, is he gonna be a good actor? And when I first saw, and I didn't realize that he took theater class or acting class in high school. So that's why. And he's able to. And he's a rapper. He was doing an interview and he said that acting is easy for him because he's able to memorize lines all the time because he raps all the time. So
Yeah.
that's why like he was the perfect actor to get cast in this role because he could have been like I don't know stereotype or kind of like a off character that they just put in the show as a tough guy, but he has so many layers to him. Like when I was like, oh my god, he's with White Rose and there's a loyalty to him with White Rose, but at the same time he kind of like is secretly rooting for Elliot at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love his character so much, and I cannot like emphasize how much I wish we had a little bit more of him this season though, but I understand like you kind of like have to focus on Irving and Elliot and all those guys, but yeah, he's a really good actor. Surprisingly, he's in that kind of like Will Smith and Drake kind of like era of like singers turned actors in a way, which I thought
I mean
was pretty cool.
I think he totally is awesome in the role in as Leon in the show, and obviously when Santiago died, that was so left field for me. I thought that Dominic was 100%
Me too.
dead, but actually it was sort of ingenious to sort of make her live.
I think the thing is, like, real quick, sorry. Yeah. I thought that Irving was going to kill her, but then when Santiago was telling him that, look, she's going to be getting a promotion soon. She's, like, someone that's really in the FBI. She can, like, be of help to you. I think at that last second, he decided to kill Santiago and use her as his replacement at that moment. Mm-hmm. Because, like, when you watch it, you're just like, I was like, Irving's going to kill her. He's going to kill her. He's going to kill her. And then, like, when it goes on, literally on, like, a completely different direction, mm-hmm. I was like, yo, this guy's a boss. And then and he already had the names of her family members on his palm already written down. And he says that this is what's going to happen to them if you don't fall back. Irving, I thought that was so cool because, like, Dom, through the 2 seasons we've had her, has always been so loyal. Like, there's not a moment where she like breaks. Even when she got with Darlene, she still didn't break her code that she was following, with the FBI. And then at that moment, you're just like, dang. It reminded me of the end of Sicario a little bit when Emily Blunt literally is signing her life away because of her, kind of like her morals. And then it felt the same way in a way too, with Dom, which was like really tragic. I was like not expecting to feel like sympathy for her in a weird way, but
yeah. What else? I guess lastly here, so when, like, narratives are sort of, like, interconnecting and getting woven into each other, so we're seeing Angela experience, Luke, I am your father moment, kind of literally, combined with, we don't know if, like, Darlene is about to be killed, or if they're about to shoot Elliot. Like, the music here particularly, the soundtrack.
Shout out to Matt Kowal, who is the composer for the show. His music is like a mix of like Hans Zimmer and Atticus Ross and Trent Reznor. His music reminds me like a David Fincher movie. It's so powerful in that last scene when like it's when like you realize that everything's gonna be okay, and kind of in a weird way you kind of felt bad for Grant. Is that what we're calling him? Sorry, Grant.
Yeah, no, his name is Grant, apparently. His character
Grant.
name. But it's weird because his real life name is Grant, so that's odd, but okay.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
But, no, I felt so bad for him because, like, White Rose is like, when my project is done, we'll be reunited again. Mm. And, she says her final words to him, saying, that she loves him, and then, it's just really, I don't know why that moment was so powerful to me. Especially, like, I legit thought, because I knew Elliot was going to die, but I thought, how are they going to get out of this? Like, I thought at least Darlene was going to die. Yeah. Because, like, because the whole thing with her, like the show's like showing you like, yo, Darlene's gonna die. Darlene's not long for the show, and I was surprised by that.
Yeah,
So much.
The answers here were so like just mind shattering. Finding out that Philip Price is actually Angela's uh,
Which is kind of like the
father.
twist of the show, right? I mean, of the season, right? That's kind of the twist, right?
I mean, not for me personally, but I mean it's up there for sure. I think it's
Yeah.
definitely up there because it just totally like made me rethink a lot of scenes between them and when she was like, my mom just sort of used me for these. She was sort of just used for these bombings. And it was just for
Hmm.
like just a simplistic reason, just like pettiness, basically, just something
Yeah.
simple. Which again was one of the reasons why a particular revelation about Rey's parents, Last Jedi, I thought totally worked. You know what I'm saying? Because
Okay.
I don't understand why. I don't know. People let their expectations eat them. But anyway, I thought that's why that reveal worked so well about Rey's parents because I was like, yeah, that was the right answer because at least for me personally, any other answer to Rey's parents, I would have really been just sort of detached, I suppose, because there wouldn't have been that emotional resonance. So when you find out Ray's parents, or when you find out that that Philip is fucking Angela's father, I like the simplicity of the answers, because there's such a huge emotional impact. I mean, could you have made it more, I guess, intricate or complex? I guess sure, but I think having a emotionally impactful answer was better than any other answer to me.
No,
But
I
hey,
I
that's
agree
just
with that.
me.
Yeah.
That's just me. Okay, because if you haven't seen The Last Jedi, what the fuck's wrong with you? But for example, like if Rey's parents just had been Luke Skywalker or something, like there would have been zero emotional impact. It would have been like, okay, well that's kind of what I expected. I'm glad that the answer was something that was unexpected. I guess is what I'm trying to say, because that was the better answer to me, in my opinion. But moving on. There's also another fantastic moment where the last words to Dominic to Darlene about how
Oh
basically
yeah.
she's saying that Darlene just totally upended her whole life and that she hopes she lives in agony. I thought was really profound. But God's sakes, okay. Favorite song of the whole fucking series, okay? The intro M83, right? That's just like blasting when Christian Slater's directing Elliot to on how he can go and reboot everything that he's done. Just
Mm-hmm.
making the whole 9-5 whatever hell is done. Just make that totally retract. Go find the
Yeah.
picture. You'll know which one. And then there's the picture. There's a callback to what the hell's that damn movie called? Back to the Future, right? Which again ties in heavily to my theory video. It's not random, at least in my opinion, because Back to the Future is like Sam Esmail's favorite film, or at least the second one. It's one of the two. And the way that it closes out with, and not only have we gone full circle and kind of in a sense gone back to the beginning, and like he just undid everything he was trying so desperately to do in season one with just a click of a button. It was just so mind shattering to me.
Yeah.
Um, what the fuck? I mean, I don't personally feel that this season had a lot of plot twists per se. I would say that the season had a lot of extraordinary like character motive reveals or
Yeah.
character unexpected character revelations or uh, choices or actions. It was more so that I didn't really personally feel that there was necessarily like this giant mind-shattering plot twist like in season 2 with the prison or season 1 when you realize that Mr. Robot is just a split personality type of thing. At
Mm-hmm.
least that's what we think so far any fucking way. But yeah, I thought that season 3 was unexpectedly perfect. Because when I tried watching season 2, I had a lot of issues with it. It took me like 3 or 4
Yeah, I
times
know.
to
That's why I kept telling you go get to episode 7. You're gonna understand. It's gonna make sense. And I didn't know how to word it without spoiling
yeah.
it. So like,
Well,
and it's funny.
I when I first tried watching, because I would like watch when I first watched season 2, I watched up to like episode 4, and I was like, I really don't fucking like this.
Mm-hmm.
like at all. Like I think I just didn't like it. It was just so not what I thought or even wanted to see. I was like, what the hell is the show going? It was equivalent to like trying to watch The Walking Dead with no Rick Grimes or something. It's like, well, why the fuck
Oh
would I want to
no.
do that? You know what I mean? Like, if you want to
I
go
know
in a
what you mean.
different, if you want to go in a different direction, fine. But this feels really different. This feels almost like the show's gone batshit, and Sam is just snorting a line of cocaine before each episode. It's like, what the hell's going on?
Oh my god.
It was a lot, you know. But then when I finally watched it straight through, I was like, you know what? I really love this. You gotta adjust, you know. But once you've adjusted to the flat out weirdness, it's just fantastic. And season 3, and what's funny is that I fell in love with all the what the fuck inducing moments of season 2 so much that when we got to season 3, and those moments were largely just stripped away, I was like, well, damn, I don't know if I like season 3 now. Because it's almost like season 3 was just like, let's give the people answers, let's tell the story in a linear fashion, and cut. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. Like, how'd you go from season 2 just being flat out bonkers to like having the weirdness take a back seat and just be like, okay, let's just answer people's questions?
Yeah, I know what you mean, but to be fair,
season 1 wasn't really like that. So
yeah, I know what you mean, because like, to be fair, I know you didn't watch season 2 like when it was on air, but there was a lot of people that just didn't like season 2 at all.
I totally understand them.
Like it really like it blew my mind, because I'm like this guy, Sam Esmail, you know, the creator, is like so he understands the end game of the show, which is why I cannot wait for like the show to end so that I can like see the whole story like come full circle of how it's going to end, like from the beginning of the show. So a lot of people that were critiquing season 2 were saying that they didn't understand what was going on. What was the motive? What was the whole like end game for White Rose? Like there was a lot of people that were complaining about that. So in a way, season 3 was kind of like a new redemption, kind of rebooting, going back, because season 3 for me was more like season 1, because there was more hacking, there was more moments like that, because season 2 was kind of like you got to know Elliot and Darlene and all those characters a lot more in season 2.
Yeah,
which is like
I guess like I've used this summary before, but to me, like if season 1 was like The Social Network, it felt like season 2 was like the sequel to Social Network, and it has nothing to do with seeing characters interacting with computers, and has nothing to do with Facebook. You just be like, wait, what? Like, what the hell? Like, what are you giving me? I don't understand why you're giving this to me, because that's what? You know what I mean? Like, it was just so bizarre. It's like we're just witnessing the madness of aliens. Like, why? What? What's the show about now? What the hell? Like, it just
I get it. I get it.
It took me a bit to adjust, but no. Yeah, to me, season 3, I thought it was a 10 out of 10. I've given all 3 seasons a 10 out of 10.
Wow.
It took me quite a bit to give season 3 a 10 out of 10, just because I was like, where are those rug pulling moments from season 2? Where's those what the fuck moments? Where's that earth shattering plot twist, like with the prison in season 2? Like, I was like, I don't know about all this, but after running it through my mind a lot, I really enjoyed season 3. I think it's like a deeply underrated masterpiece. Good lord! Well, the show.
I agree.
I think the show overall is a deeply unappreciated. I mean, there's a lot of fans, but there should be way more fans. In my opinion.
Right now it kind of has like a cult following right now, which is weird, because season 1 really had a big. Because I remember when it first won the Golden Globe back in 2015, I was like, what is this Mr. Robot show? I guess I gotta watch it. And then I watched it. I'm like, oh, okay, so this is, I can see why it won the Golden Globe, because it was so different, and the writing was so good, and like, it makes me sad, because like the ratings were dropping, and I was like, oh, come on, man, like Walking Dead is getting more views than Mr. Robot, and Mr. Robot, like, writing wise, cinematography, acting is something that some of the best on television right now, you know, and it gets no love, unfortunately. But before we we gotta talk about that post credit scene, by the way.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
but
I just signed out of Amazon, but the that's probably my second favorite one take sequence where it's Darlene and
that
a
stripper prostitute
woman,
chick.
yeah, whoever
Yeah.
the fuck she was. Yeah, I just have no idea how that sequence was filmed. Like it melts my mind because I want to be a filmmaker, but like I have so many
hmm
questions about how that was done. Like that was done legitimately in one take.
Yeah. hmm
There was no cheating there, as far as that I could see anything. It looked like it happened the way it happened. Like it was just one take. That's how it appeared, and it was incredible. And then we see that villain from season one.
Vera. Yep.
Yeah, which no, I'm sorry, but I totally forgot that character even existed. So I had to hit up Google to figure out who he
Oh
was.
snap!
I totally forgot because
No,
last
I've
time I
been.
saw Mr. Robot, I watched season one of Mr. Robot. I think it was sometime randomly in 2016. I think,
Okay.
and I watched it at a time where I really didn't have time to watch the show. It was well after the fact. So I totally forgot that dude even like existed. I was like, why are they
Dang.
putting emphasis on this dude? Who the fuck is this guy? So I had to go back and I was like, oh yeah,
No.
totally forgot that dude. Forgot that dude even breathed. Jesus.
Dang, that's crazy. Because I've been like secretly like obsessed with like that character to come back because the way he left the show in season one, I'm like, there's no way that he's gonna just go loose, right? Because I'm like, he killed Shayla. Like he
Yeah.
legit is a horrible person, and his relationship with Elliot was so like fascinating in season one. He's kind of like Tyrell in like the complete opposite, where he said, Elliot, it's our destiny. We're meant to like work together, you know, same kind of like um, dynamic. And when he first popped up, because right when the music started playing, and right when I saw that car,
Yeah.
I was like, when I was like, wait a minute. I was like, no way, they're not gonna do this. And then when Darlene was like, "Who are you?" He's like, "My lady, I'm from something about the cosmos." But yes, you can shine a light through this little light on my way over here. I'm like, and I was like, and it kind of like makes me think, what is gonna happen in season four? Where has this guy been? Like,
Yeah.
has he been like meditating? Has he been like going on a cleanse since like he left New York in season one? Like, it just like blows my mind. Like, what's like Elliot's reaction gonna be to see him like return?
Yeah.
He's gonna be a great villain
I,
like for
I
season four. I cannot
probably
wait.
just I like again. Not only did I watch season one very quickly, and I never thought about Mr. Robot again after that because I go through a lot of content on my channel. So I just forgot. I forgot that dude even existed. Maybe the fans are like, "Oh my god, I recognize him the second he came on the screen." Well, great for you. I totally forgot who he was.
Yep, yep.
But it's cool to see him back. I suppose I didn't think we would ever see him again, which probably ties into why I forgot him as well. But
hmm
um, it's interesting he's back though. That's for sure.
Because
But
like he has one of the best monologues on the show too. In episode two of season one, he has this amazing monologue where he talks about how he used to cut himself and like he really didn't know how to do it but how and then that music by Mac Quayle plays where it's called "Hate Yourself," and then that music starts
mhm,
playing, and he starts talking about truly hating yourself, and then it kind of like went back with Elliot and how he kind of feels, um, foreshadowing what later on happens with Shayla, how kind of it's his fault why she kind of like died because of him getting involved in something he shouldn't.
mm,
Which is why I love the character so much, and I know that how people kind of like think this way, but I feel like he's such an important character because like I want him to die so badly. He's so over the top. Like I love how like crazy he is. Like I think that I don't want to get to predictions, but I think that he's going to be a really important role in season four
yeah,
with Elliot, and also he might. I feel like he might have some kind of like an involvement with what happened with the Congo and all that stuff with White Rose. Because the thing is like what's funny about Elliot is that he's not really a fighter. Like, he uses his mind and hacking to like get the job done. So I
yeah,
know that Elliot's not gonna kill him personally because we've seen Elliot get beat up like so many times on this show. So
yeah,
like I feel like either Leon or someone else is gonna like get involved and like uh Vera's whole like character with his connection with like the drug mob that he's connected with. So I don't
Mm.
know. That's just me personally. That's how I might think some things might happen. But Sam Esmail might do something different, and he might kill him the first episode of season 4. So I don't have no idea. I have no idea.
Right.
Legit.
But yeah, we're about to get ready to wrap up here. I know we've been going for like an extraordinary long time, but really wanted to discuss season 3 in this format because for me to discuss it in my usual sort of more concise, condensed way just would have took too long because I have like 12 other videos I need to be working on. But yeah, I gave season 3 10 out of 10. What did you rate season 3?
Yeah, same. 10 out of 10. I don't think there's any. The pacing for season 3 was fantastic, and nothing felt like it dragged. Everything felt important for the plot. So yeah, 10 out of 10.
Okay. And one other thing before we close out here, I'm probably gonna throw maybe 2 or 3 minutes on the clock here for you. So we have not. You're like a Mr. Robot fanatic, right? I
A little
know.
bit, yeah.
I was like, how much do you like the show, or how knowledgeable about the show you might be? You're saying it'd probably be maybe like a 9.5 out of 10. So I'm gonna throw about 2 or 3 minutes on the clock here. So oddly enough, we have not discussed like our theories about the show at all.
Right.
Which I can't discuss because I'm still working on notes for that and fact checking some things. But I'll try to push out my theory about where the show is going and what it actually means. Particularly like for season 4 in the near future, I'll definitely try. But here I'm gonna go big screen here for a second. But I'm curious. All right, so starting now, what are your theories about the show's intention in terms of the next upcoming series plot twist?
So I think that I think the overall arc of how the show is going to end is that Elliot Alderson, I think, will be the official CEO of E Corp. I think that is where the show is going to go. I think that's where Sam Esmail kind of like, because the whole monologue in season 1 was the top 1% of the top 1%, the guys pretending to play God without permission, is a kind of like alienation of the corporate greed that Elliot sees and how he will try to be the one to reach for that to, because he said he doesn't care about money, but I think that is a whole part of this arc, redeeming his dad, and I think that's where it's going to go. I think I don't think the show will go in the time travel route that a lot of people think it's going to be going in. I think they're going to try to stick it to reality. And I also think that there are parts. I think there's another thing that Sam Esmail is trying to do that it's not. I think it's alternate realities because there's the whole thing of the Berenstein effect that a lot of people have been thinking online in terms of like what the show actually is trying to do. If that makes sense, I don't know how to put it. It's like a whole like stuff on Reddit about these kind of theories.
Wait, so
I think
you're thinking that there might be a possibility of alternate
timelines
or parallel
yes, parallel universes.
realities?
Yes,
Like straight multiverse?
yes. That's what I think. I think because of the whole thing with the power plant, because that's not a power plant when we saw it in episode 1 of season 3. That's not a power plant. That's something completely like something revolutionary that they're trying to do. So, and why would Angela be so convinced that White Rose would try to bring back her mom? Like, why is the thought of that Angela even thinking that would be a possibility? For me, doesn't make any kind of sense unless there's some kind of something that White Rose proposed to her, and the whole thing with the young Angela and seeing her in the flashback. That whole thing makes me feel like that's not a coincidence. Something it makes me feel so weird because I'm like, I don't want the show to go sci-fi, but at the same time, kind of like if they do, I wouldn't mind it,
Yeah.
But I also think that some people have this theory that Elliot Alderson might have cancer as well, which I think could be a possibility. Fuck? Yeah, because of the whole thing. Why is it called Stage 2? Which I think might be possible, but I don't think
Wait,
that.
What? What? Like if Christian Slater actually died a different way, and like Elliot secretly has cancer?
Something like that, possibly. I'm not. It could be. It could be
Because Elliot wasn't pushed out a damn window.
exactly.
He jumped
That's
out the window.
exactly. He jumped himself exactly. That's why I'm like.
Okay.
That's why that was another twist that I was like, oh, okay, that proves my point. That's another thing that Sam Esmail was like the unreliable narrator arc. It's so bizarre how like that's kind of stuff plays out. And there's some things in the show with little details of subtitles that are a little bit not off. It's just like there's little details like that. I can't think of it right now.
Sure.
But
All right.
little things like that. And also another thing that I think is a really important thing moving forward in the show is each episode, each premiere of each season also has a foreshadowing of the next season. Because in episode 1 of season 1, there's a picture of a building that's very similar to the building that they try to blow up in season 2 that they're in the ending. And then in the premiere of season 2, there's a picture of a barn that is placed in season 3 in the ending of season 3. So something in season 4 premiere is going to foreshadow something in the next season, which is a little detail that Sam Esmail, which blows my mind, that he knows how the show's going to end. So
okay. Well, I'm gonna have to look into that, but I'm gonna have to. We can speak a little bit more.
Sorry,
but we've been going for like I think like an hour and like 46 minutes or some shit. So I'm gonna cut this short here for the viewers, so we can talk more about this off screen. I appreciate you coming through for this review. And you know we're about to go off because I literally got start uploading this now, and then I gotta leave the work.
No, I understand.
But thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this review, definitely make sure to smash that like button and subscribe as well. My God, I'm glad I got that out of my system. Peace, guys.